Lots of options when it comes to replacing Cody Ceci on the second pair on the right side, and there might be a familiar face coming back to wear the orange and blue. I'll go over that and some many other options for the Oilers to replace Cody Ceci on the pair. But before we get into all of that, make sure to subscribe here to Oilers Digest, as 89% of you have not yet subscribed to the channel. We're on the road to 1,600 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe down below as we get into the rest of the summer here for the Edmonton Oilers. Training camp is just around the corner, and we will have each and every piece of news about the Oilers covered here on the channel. But we are nursing the situation. Yes, there's a tweet from Dustin Nielsen of Edmonton Sports Talk Radio. He's saying the Oilers are keeping all their options open on PTOs, but they've already had conversations with Tyson Barrie. They love him in the room, but is he a fit on the ice with the way the blue line is currently built? And when you see here, when it comes to that second pairing, it's going to be beside Darnell Nurse, and Tyson Barrie and Nurse do have history together. And as you can see there, they created a lot of chances, but they also gave up a lot of chances. So it's not the wisest thing to bring Tyson Barrie back, even though he does have experience running the Oilers power play. But Evan Bouchard is there, and there's really no reason for Barrie to come back to Edmonton, no matter how much the Oiler brass and the Oilers players loved him in the locker room. The problem in his game was his defensive ability, which struggled while on a pair with Darnell Nurse. With Evan Bouchard emerging as the team's de facto power play quarterback and offensive driver, the Oilers did trade Barrie to the Nashville Predators, along with prospects like Reed Schaefer, in exchange for Matthias Ekholm at the 2023 NHL trade deadline. Barrie's game quickly fell off with the Predators, and he became an occasional healthy scratch last season. He played in just one of Nashville's 6 playoff games against the Vancouver Canucks last year. You can see the numbers again. With Darnell Nurse, again, weren't exactly the greatest. It was sort of a dice roll on any given night with those two on the ice. Nurse, he was an offensive defenseman, or tried to act like one anyways. And Barrie, also being an offensive defenseman, those two just did not mesh well together in the slightest. So let's get into some options, some external options for the Oilers. There are internal options for that second right side. Ty Emberson, who they just acquired from the San Jose Sharks, a guy like Josh Brown, who you shouldn't really have to see in that second pairing, or Troy Stecher. It all boils down to that. But there could be a trade the Oilers make at the trade deadline, and they could acquire one of these players. I'll break down some good fits for the Oilers. Rasmus Andersson, could he be a fit with the Edmonton Oilers? You can see there his analytics, not the greatest, but he is a hard-nosed defenseman for the Calgary Flames in their top 4. You can see the 66% impact on the even strength goal share, but expected goal share, it's not so good. When he's not on the ice, or when he is on the ice, when he's not on the ice. He impacts the Flames on the offensive side of the puck. There you can see here his entry defense score, 2%. Not exactly the greatest, but again, he is a hard-nosed defenseman for the Flames. He was brought up as a potential option by Brendan Escott, host of Oilers Now. He's a 27-year-old on the Calgary Flames, 27-year-old defenseman with a $4.55 million cap hit. There is a discrepancy between Andersson's actual and expected goal differential in the past 2 seasons. The Flames do generate the same rate of scoring chances with and without Andersson on the ice, but their finishing considerably improves with Andersson. Whether that sustains or not remains to be seen. He's been a regular top 4 defenseman for Calgary, but in the 3 of the past 4 seasons, Andersson's dangerous Fenwick percentage against elite competition ranks near the bottom of the team. That's one noteworthy red flag. Additionally, Edmonton would likely have to offer a higher price for Andersson compared to other teams, with Calgary being a prominent provincial rival. It's worth mentioning that the Oilers were also interested in Chris Tanev at the deadline, reportedly offering their first-round pick, but Calgary eventually dealt him to Dallas, and the Oilers did offer their first-round pick and picked up Adam Henrique. Another fit here for the Oilers could be Will Borgen. You can see there much better numbers there. He did play the most amount of minutes against elite competition on the Seattle Kraken last year, but he wouldn't have to, face that with the Edmonton Oilers if he is on that second pairing. You can see there he is all defense, and that's exactly what the Oilers need on that second pair. They just need a guy who is very steady. As you can see there on the penalty kill too. If you need to put him on the penalty kill, you can put him right in there, and he'd be phenomenal. So Will Borgen, he is in the last year of his 2-year contract. Of course, the Seattle Kraken did sign Matty Beniers, so they could offload Will Borgen at the trade deadline. It all depends on what kind of playoff spot they are in. Another good fit here for the Edmonton Oilers is Dante Fabbro. You can see that his zone exit score 90%, so he's good at getting the puck out of the zone. But again, the impact on the even strength goal share, you can't expect offense out of him. But again, when it comes to the second pairing with Darnell Nurse, you kind of let Darnell Nurse handle the offense, and you just need a steady rocking chair defenseman back there, and that's exactly what Dante Fabbro could provide. He's got a $2.5 million cap hit on the Predators, and he's a fascinating option. He's a superb puck mover. He remains one of the league's most efficient defensemen at retrieving pucks in the defensive zone and exiting without turning the puck over, as his failed exit percentage ranks in the 94th percentile. Furthermore, he's an above-average entry defender and has seen a significant improvement in that regard this past season. And you can see there, when it comes to the Nashville Predators in the space on the blue line there, you can see he is not listed when you have guys like Brady Shea, Roman Josi, Jeremy Lauzon, Alex Carrier, and Luke Shen there. There seems to be no room for Dante Fabbro on the blue line. It could be an interesting pickup there. Lastly here, Artem Zub with the Ottawa Senators. You can see their numbers all across the board except for the zone exit score of 42%, but I mean, that's not awful. But again, this would be the perfect pickup for the Edmonton Oilers. It all boils down to, if the Sens want to get rid of him. He checks off a lot of boxes. He plays elite competition at an incredibly high rate and has produced excellent goal and expected goal share impacts. Although he's not the most spectacular puck mover, he's an upgrade on Cody Ceci, Ty Emberson, and Troy Stetcher, while he's an outstanding rush defender. Zub's entry denial rates rank near the league's top, as he's consistently aggressive at defending the blue line. Unfortunately, it is doubtful if Ottawa would trade him. At this recent trade deadline, Senator Ian Mendes reported that the team has no interest in trading Zub, even going on to say that, if anything, the Senators need to clone Artem Zub, not trade him away. But if there's any chance that Zub is ever available, potentially at the deadline at the Senators or sellers, the Oilers should be all over it. And took the words right out of my mouth. The Artem Zub is the perfect defender to put beside Darnell Nurse. I mean, a rocking chair defenseman, Artem Zub. If Ottawa, decides to be sellers at the trade deadline, I know every year I see people putting them into the playoffs and then they disappoint. If this year is, one or more of the same, they could potentially trade Artem Zub and the Oilers. If I'm Stan Bowman, I am lining up. That's it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments who the Oilers should grab to put on that second pair. Should they go out and make a trade at the trade deadline? Should they get somebody before the season starts? Should they, give Tyson Barrie another opportunity on that side beside Darnell Nurse? Lots of options here. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Have yourselves a great day and a fantastic weekend. I'm Matt.